Hey, I hope you're doing well today. And today I've got something really special for you. So it's an actual content generator for LinkedIn. We have WordPress as well. So we're going to be creating blogs. We're going to be creating LinkedIn posts, and we can write in any style that we want. And we have several different templates to use. So I'll do a little demo and then I'll show you how I made it. All right, so let's start with the first thing, which is just going to be our chat input. So I do have how to use it all here as well. What kind of structures that we want to use for LinkedIn. There's several different templates as well for LinkedIn. We can do the blogs. We can get new keywords or current keywords. So it's really, really simple. So all we have to do is put in our structure. So let's say we want a blog. So we just put in blog. And then the keywords that we want. So let's just say AI automations. And then we can just write new. And that'll grab new keywords for us as well. So we can see it going through right here. It's getting and scraping all the keywords. It's then actually getting the highest trending keyword as well for us, which is really nice. We're then going through a query generator here, and that's just going to generate queries that we should search for based on this keyword, and then get all that research as well with the research agent right here. So we can see that it's actually researched 4 different things. We're then going through and getting a character, and this character could be using a writing style of whoever the hell that we want. It then generates a prompt on that, and that also gets the structure and generates a prompt on that. We are then merging them together, placing them into the writer agent. So now the writer agent's using a very particular writing style, and it's also using a very particular structure as well. And in this case, it's the blog structure. And then we just wait for this to obviously generate. Now, you probably notice that I am using 4.0 right here. I'm pretty much using ChatGPT for everything. Now, the reason for that is because reliability. With a lot of these other large language models these days, I feel like the reliability is out the window. And as good as Claude is and everything like that, with the issues about overloading and everything, it can really mess things up. So with 4.0 mini, ChatGPT in general, it's very, very reliable. So we can see it's just come through down here as well, and it's gone through the image prompter. Now, this is just going to create a prompt, okay? And then we're going to generate an image on that. And then after that, we're just going to process that image. And, sometimes the images process in 10 seconds, sometimes 5. Sometimes the images take, 30 seconds, a minute even. So I've just set a processing image wait time here of 60 seconds. Yeah. And that just gives enough time just to ensure that we do get that image as well. And I mean, honestly, you wouldn't be sitting here waiting for it like me right now anyway. Everything would just be running on autopilot. So I'll cut it really quick and I'll jump back when it's ready. All right, so that one is done. It's posted to WordPress as well, as we can see here. Let's come over to WordPress and let's open it up, and we can see the post right here. And we can see just a general image that is created for it. Now, but here's where it gets a little bit interesting. So this is actually using Chris Rock, the comedian, okay, as the writer and the writing style and the tone and everything like that. So you'll notice like the way he talks is very different, right? And this is all throughout the whole blog post as well, okay? So just to go through a little bit here. So obviously we have the introduction, we have the key takeaways, we have a table of contents, which we can just, click to the other sections and everything as well. And then we're also getting like external links, okay? So we're getting all these sources, everything like that. Bullet points as well. So we're getting 3 bullet points per section. We should have 4 sections, like the main sections in total. Then we come down here, we have the FAQs, and then just, questions in relation to our keyword and everything like that as well. And then a conclusion at the end, because our posts don't look AI generated. They actually look like genuine people, authentic people who wrote this. And that's a problem that I see with a lot of these automations and AI generated blogs, is that it looks like an AI made it. Jumping here really quickly as well. So as I mentioned before, I am using, this GPT mini right here doesn't really matter, but I am using 4.0, okay, for the writer. Now, there's a reason for that as well, because if we actually look at the benchmarks here, we can see the benchmarks, right? So number 1 is DeepSeek. Now, I would love to be using DeepSeek, but what's the problem? Reliability, right? The servers are always up and down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. With Claude, it has issues with overloading. But if we look here, we have GPT, okay? So GPT is a 7.96, which is actually pretty good. So we're getting a good price. and really good benchmarks as well. So that's why I'm using GPT-4o right here. Let's go over here and just discuss what's happening and how it's all working, okay? So obviously, we're starting off with a chat input, okay? So later on, let's say you get it all set up and you're like, okay, I'm happy with everything. Let's have this run on autopilot. Well, you'd probably use something like schedule trigger. So you'd use something like this, you'd replace this right here, and you'd be running it on a certain time interval, maybe 3 times a week or something, okay? So you can do something like that. But what's happening here is you can see the query that I sent here, which was just blog AI automations new. So blog is a structure, which is the structure here. AI automations is the keyword that I want to search and scrape for. And new is just saying, I want new keywords, okay? Now, the reason why that can be broken up like that as well is because of this code node right here. So when I say that, okay, we can see right over here, I have the type post is blog, the type time is new, and the keyword AI automations, okay? And the reason why that is because now we can choose what type of structure we want to use from the start. We don't actually have to manually change anything at all, okay? That's then coming down into a switch. So if it's a new keyword that we want to track, we go down to new. If it's something current that we've already scraped prior, then we come down the current line, and then we're going to start getting those keywords based on if they're complete or not yet through the to-do right here. But if we want to scrape them, okay, we do have a scraper. So opening this up really quick, we can see I have AI automation. So that was the actual keyword that I was after. And we can see everything here as well. So we have obviously the keyword, we can see the volume, okay, so that's the traffic. I believe that's monthly traffic coming. The competition level, so we have it set, not we have it set, but the competition level is medium for this as well. We have the bids, and that's all right if you want to do some advertising as well. And then we have the trend, okay, so it's a 9.67. And if we scroll down, we can see, some are more trendy than others, okay? So automatic writing AI is at 117, nearly 118 on the trend. So that might be a very good one. Now, what am I doing here? Well, number one, I'm taking the competition level, okay? And I'm only passing things which are medium or low competition, okay? So we can see in the false branch right here, the competition level was high. I don't want it, right? So we'll just get rid of those, but we keep the low and the medium competition, okay? Because those are the ones which are going to be easier for us to rank for in Google. Now, after that happens, we're just creating a keyword. So all we're doing here is just putting them straight onto Supabase. Now, if I open up Supabase really quickly, we can open up keywords and we can see all our keywords right here, okay? And we also have the to-do, and the one that we just did before is complete. So that won't actually run again for us. Now we can see all the trends in here as well, and all the numbers, all the data. So that's very useful as well. But if we actually come over here, this is a code node again, which is actually going to look at all of these keywords. So we have 41 items right here, and it's actually going to choose the one with the highest trend, okay, based on this code right here. So it's looking at the highest trend number, okay, and out of all of these 41 items, we have identified a keyword with the highest trend being the one that I mentioned before, which was automatic writing AI. So that's at 118 nearly, okay? So that's the keyword that's being passed through. That's the keyword that's going to be researched and written a blog about, or a LinkedIn post about, and so on and so forth. So we're just merging all that data here as well. We're coming to the query generator. It then receives that keyword, as we can see right here. So I said, create search queries for this keyword, automatic writing AI, okay? And then all it's doing is just making queries, okay? So based on statistics, based on research, everything for this year, okay? And then we see the output right here. So we can see recent statistics on data on automatic writing AI 2025, case studies, expert opinions, competing content analysis, common questions. So then we're getting all very relevant information and research based solely on that actual keyword, which is going to be really important for us. That is then passed over to the researcher. So this is going to receive all the output from the query generator, okay, which is going to be 4 queries. It's then going to research based on those 4 queries. So we can see right here in the research internet, okay, this is actually using OpenAI's web search tool as well, okay, their latest little agent tool thing that they've released recently. So that is actually researching everything in regards to those queries, okay, which were generated by the query generator. If we come over here now, so this is where it starts to get a little bit more fun as well. So we have the get character. Now, if we look at my Supabase really quickly, I go to character profiles. All right, now we can see I have a few different names here. Now I've just put in some random names. I try to get a range of people as well so we can get some, different results. We can see right here I've got Kim Kardashian, Denzel Washington, Chris Rock, Seth Godin, Bill Burr as well. So based on all of this data here, which is in the Supabase, okay, so I have pretty much like how this person talks, what they like, what they dislike, phrases, common phrases that they say all the time, okay? This is all in the table right here. And what this is going to do is that when it comes through and actually uses this information where we can see right here, right? So this is for Chris Rock, and we can see the value who I've chosen. This is Chris Rock. And all you're going to do when you want to change it is be like, oh, I want to use Bill Burr. Okay, boom, now it uses Bill Burr. Or you could make yourself, or you could make a total fictional kind of character as well. It's totally up to you. You might want to use a marketing guru who's really good at talking and writing articles and things like that as well. But I could just put in something like that, okay? And then all of that data would open up here, okay, from that character. So their writing style, so we can see common transition. Now here's the thing, you know what's wild? Let me tell you about. So these are all the common phrases and transitions and speech patterns that this particular person uses, okay? And that's why it kind of all comes to life as well. Now, that is then moved over into a generate prompt character, okay? So based on that character, we're now generating a prompt for our next agent, which is the writer agent. And this is giving writing style instructions based on this character right here. That is then passed through the merge, but I'll just come up and get the structure first. So we can see for the structure, we have the type was blog, okay? So based on the type of post here, this will now be a blog. So now we're actually fetching the blog structure from Supabase, okay? And that's why we can get that specific structure. Now we generate a prompt with that structure as well, as we can see right here. So that structure came over here. Now it's over here. That is then passed over to the writer agent. Now the writer agent will see the keyword, okay? So the original keyword that was highest trending, which was automatic writing AI. And we also have the research, okay? So the research from the researcher as well. And then in the system message, we have 2 prompts. So we have here the prompt for creating the blogs, okay? So in this case, he's a blog writing agent. And everything is in HTML, formatted in HTML, what sections it has to use, everything like that as well. And then we also have the writing style instructions. So that is the actual character it's going to use and write like, okay? And then down here, we just have, the output that we want. So we can actually go through the output parser right here. Now, after that happens, okay, and let's just say, okay, the writer's all done. He's finished the article. It's going to come through here, update the row. And all this is going to do is just update that specific keyword in Supabase and just set it as complete. So now we know, oh, this is complete, and that keyword doesn't need to be fetched again, because if we actually come back really quick, we can see this if filter right here. Now, if it is equal to do, okay, it will pass through, but if it's complete, it won't pass through. So that actual keyword won't go through again. Now, we come over here again. I'm just using a set node here just to, grab all the data, just so it's a little bit easier to manage as well, so I can pick it up later on. We're then doing a switch post. So obviously, if it's a LinkedIn post, we can see it right here. That's going to go up to LinkedIn and then post it on LinkedIn. If it's a blog, okay, it'll come down through WordPress. Okay, so then it'll come down here. down into WordPress, and it'll generate an image prompt as well. It'll then create that image, okay, and then post it off. Now I'll show you as well just at the image prompter, because what I've done here was actually try to make it really, really simple, just so we don't get all of these weird deformities, because sometimes you can get fantastic imagery, right? And sometimes the generations are like random as hell, and we don't really want that. So what I've done, and the kind of workaround for this, is just creating image prompts which are dead simple, okay? So for this in particular, all it is literally is this: subject, basic action state, simple setting or object, okay? So a dog on a lawn, okay? So we can see in this particular case, all it said was a pen on a notepad, okay? Because it's talking about automatic writing AI, right? So then it's just like, a pen on a notepad. That's very simple. It's hard to mess that up and generate that, okay? Now here, all I'm using is replicate. Then we're just processing the image, because as I said before, this process, sometimes it's really quick, sometimes it takes time and you got to wait for it. And I give it about 60 seconds, and generally that will always be ready by the time this timer finishes. And then we're just posting to WordPress. So if we actually open up WordPress as well, now I'm having a few issues with my host. So this is why I'm using an HTTP post request to WordPress rather than actually using the n8n WordPress node. But as we can see right here, this is the same thing, okay? So we're just getting our we're just setting up our authorization. We have it set to basic, and then we have our application password, which would be right in here. Content type, application JSON, and then we just have the body of everything, which is very simple. It's just we have the title, okay? So we're just putting the title in here. We have the status. So this you can set to like draft or publish and things like that. If you just want to set and forget it, obviously you'd set it to publish, so you don't have to manually go in and publish everything yourself. The author, that would probably be you in your case. So I've set it to Ken Kai. And then just the content. So the content here is just everything that the writer agent generated before, the actual blog post and everything. So if we open that up really quick, we can see right here, this is the actual article that the writer agent before created, okay? So we're just pasting that in right there as well. And then at the top here, we're just using the image that was generated. Now let's do another little test, okay? So in this case right here, and I mean, this will be ridiculous, okay? But let's change this to Kim Kardashian, okay? Just so I can give you an idea of how, easily we can change characters and make new characters and everything as well. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a LinkedIn post, okay? So let's create a LinkedIn normal post. So all we do is just put in LinkedIn normal. We can say AI automations, okay? And we can just say current, so we can get the current keywords which are already in our Supabase. So those are the keywords right here. And we have ones already set, ones already created in here, okay? So all we have to do then is hit send. So now we're going to go through LinkedIn and actually post on LinkedIn as well. So press send. And we can see it coming down and routing down here now to grab those keywords and doing the same thing right here. It is then picking up the best performing, the highest trending keyword, which in this case is 338.3. So this is a very high trending one. We're generating the queries. We're then doing research on that, and the researcher is going to pass that information along, generating a prompt, getting our structure for that LinkedIn normal post as well. The writer agent's already made it, and boom, there we go. It's on LinkedIn. So if I actually open up LinkedIn, refresh that, and there we go. There's our post in there. Okay, so that's very simple one. If you do want to increase the word length though, you can do that. Okay, I've just set this to a very low word length. But if you want to set it higher, it's up to you. But we can see right here, this is Kim Kardashian now talking, okay? So she says, so like the machine learning market is going to literally be worth 503 billion by 2030. Oh my God, that's massive. I feel like the machine learning AI agents, like they're literally changing a whole game. That is pretty much how she's writing and talking, okay? Now, the reason why I'm also doing LinkedIn posts rather than articles. Now, I did some research on this months ago, and based on some of the top performing LinkedIn people as well, one in particular is this Jasmine or Jay Alec. If you actually notice and look at his actual content on here, right? And this guy has, 300,000 followers on LinkedIn. But if you actually look at all of his content, it's only posts. He doesn't make articles. He literally hasn't got one article on here. Okay, all he makes are posts, and he does the odd video as well every now and then. But videos were a new thing. But yeah, what I noticed was that all he really did was just post relevant information to his specific audience. Okay, and it picked up and he did really, really well with that. So that's why I'm just mainly focusing on posts, because it seemed to be like articles weren't really recommended by a lot of the LinkedIn, gurus and everything like that. Let's then make a character now as well. And I'll show you how easy this is, okay? So we look at this create character template right here. All we have to do right here, right, is just copy paste this. So we take the prompt, not from there, from create a character. We scroll all the way down and we just copy that. Now, I really recommend using DeepSeek for this, okay? DeepSeek R1 in particular, because it is the highest benchmark writing model in the world currently. And all we have to do is paste that in. All right, don't press enter here because we want to actually change the character. Now, here is where we want to choose our character. So let's just say, another wild example, right? Well, let's create a character for Adam Sandler. So we just put Adam Sandler, the actor and comedian, okay? And we just press send. So we actually have the SQL right here, okay? And all of these fields here are already pre-filled so that the chat model also understands like, oh, what do I have to put in here? Oh, I have to put this, and that in there, okay? So we'll just let that load and I'll cut back in a sec as well. All right, so DeepSeek's just generated this character for us as well. So we can see here it's made like common phrases that he uses and all these kind of things, and even actual like sentences that Adam Sandler might use, and that might be from movies or something like that as well. So all we have to do, we just come up here, we just copy that, we come over to Supabase, and we go to our SQL editor. All right, click that, obviously take that out, delete all that, paste the new one in, okay? So everything here is already ready to go. And we just press run, and you should see success, no rows returned. And then all we have to do is we come back over to our blogger, and we go to get character right here. And this was Adam Sandler, so I just put in Adam Sandler, and I'll just test it just to make sure all the data is coming through. Test that, and boom, there we go. There's our character right there. So now the writing agent is going to write like Adam Sandler now, okay? And we can do this for anyone, okay? So we don't just have to do it on celebrities or, known public figures. We can do it on even like particular authors that might not be as famous but have a really nice writing style, and we just take all their blogs and put it into the chat models, and the chat model will be able to mimic that actual style as well. Now, for the SQL as well, okay, so for all the tables that we require, I've already made it all here as well. So we do have create table for the blog structure, for the character profiles, and I also have the keywords as well. And all we'd have to do is we just take in all these, come here to Supabase, go to SQL editor again, obviously delete all that, and we're pasting that in, and we just press run, okay? Now, I already have these tables, so I'm not going to do that, but that is all we have to do, and it's very, very simple. Now, for the actual scraping keywords as well, all I'm using here is the Google Keyword Insight, and I think this is really, really good because I actually went through about maybe 10 or 15 different APIs for keywords. Now, if I look through this as well, this is just very simple. So we have just a method get. We're using the endpoint for .com/top keys, okay? And this is just putting our keyword in that we actually initially searched for. We have the location set to the US. If you want something more local to you, your country, set it to your country. The language set to English, and the number here. So this is just the total number of keywords that we want to scrape. So I've just set it to 50. Then we just have our rapid API key, which is right here, and then just the host. And as long as you have all that in there and you run it, everything will be generated. And then we can actually see everything So this is what kind of information that we're getting, okay? Where we can just see everything right here, the search volume, we have the competition index, we have the trend, we have the keyword obviously as well. And yeah, that gives us enough information to then pass, the top performing trending keywords rather than looking, even on Google Trends. We don't even have to do that, okay? This makes it all that easier for us. And then we have the image generation as well, okay? So I'm just using Replicate because that allows me to use various different models, video generations, image, everything, okay? And that just saves time building and making an account everywhere for all different APIs and everything. So this is just set up to a method post. We have the URL endpoint here set to Imagine3. This is Google's one called Imagine3. Then we're just putting in our authorization for the name here. Bearer, obviously, this is where your API key goes. So if you jump over to Replicate, you go to you click on your name up here. You click on API tokens. Obviously, after you've made an account, registered and everything, you can just create a token. So you put in your name, create a token, copy that, and then all you're doing is just deleting that right there, and you paste that in directly right there, okay? Now everything here is already set and ready to go. So this is just taking the actual image prompt output, okay? And then creating an image based on that. And then it's just process the image and straight to WordPress. And that's it, we're good to go. Now, even for the structures, you can make as many structures as you want as well. So if we look in Supabase, we can see my structures right here. I've already made 4 or 5 for anyone who wants to use it as well. Let's just, yep, here it is. Okay, so I have, different types of structures, different types of posts as well. So I have one for like just a general LinkedIn normal post. And then some of the posts that we want to make might have a list. So we have a list of things in the post as well. Obviously the blog. And then we have a contrarian. So contrarian is actually really good for, unpopular opinions, right? And this kind of generally gets more engagement because it's going against the norm kind of thing. So anytime that you wanted to create a new one or anything like that, this is where you'd be adding it in here, okay? So if you want a particular writing style, if you want a particular structure, like even for the blog, okay? You say, oh, well, I don't want any introduction. I just want to go straight into this. Well, that would, it might be a bit strange, but just as an example, right? You could just copy this, create a new one right here, okay? And then generate some sort of structure that you'd prefer as well. Or it could be something else for LinkedIn, or it could be anything, okay? Sky's the limit. It's really in your hands, and have fun, explore with it a little bit as well. You don't just have to use this, okay? This is just as an example to kind of be inspired by. And that'll be the end of the video. So I hope you learned something new. I hope it was pretty interesting for you. And I think it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, LinkedIn, as much as I dislike it because I feel like it does share too much information with the world, it is a very powerful platform, especially if you're interested in getting ahead in business, in your career and everything like that. And then we have the blogs, which are just good in general for getting traffic from Google and Bing and Yahoo, if that's still even a thing. So if you do want to pick it up or one of the other several templates here as well, feel free to come join us over at the community. We're doing a little competition right now as well. So, anyone who plays the game and makes the workflow is going to win $50, right? So it's a good way to test your skill level, but also possibly win and get some money as well. So I hope to see you there, but if not, I'll see you again next time.